Hello, everybody, and welcome to tonight's episode of Infinite Horizon. um, right off the bat, as I'm sure many of you have noticed, we have a brand new overlay, courtesy of one Caitlin Bruder.
So pretty. I've been sitting on this for so long, you guys. I'm so excited.
We've been talking about this for a while, and it was I'm so excited about this. So yeah, we have a brand new overlay. It's modular now, which means that we don't have to do surgery every time we decide to have a guest or our one player down. So
yeah, that's so modular, man.
Yeah, totally
so modular,
modular,
man.
dude.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Modular, dude.
All right, we're not.
Now
we're not
Freeman
doing
has to
this.
do it.
This
We
bit-
all did it. Freeman has to do it.
Okay,
Damn
well,
it.
Fair
luckily
enough.
it's modular, dude. So
Yeah,
one
we
person.
just Yeah, luckily it's modular, so we can just get rid of Freeman entirely now.
No, okay, I'll do it. Modular, dude.
Thank you. We've all gotten what we wanted.
This is what peer pressure
Hell
looks
yeah.
like, guys. This is what peer pressure looks like.
Say no to peer pressure, unless it's for fun things. Wait, don't take that out of context.
Yeah, don't.
Anyway,
Cheers.
everybody be kind to each other. Anyway, welcome. So yes, we have a brand new overlay for tonight. Actually, tonight's episode is going to be peppered with a lot of fun surprises that will be sort of like sprinkled throughout, like a little bit of Salt Bay of like surprises throughout the whole episode tonight. So, so yeah, you have that to look forward to. But before we get into tonight's episode, we do have a few announcements. Of course, our usual stuff. We have Into Deep on Tuesdays, which just happened yesterday, which I missed most of the episode when I tuned in during the apparently largest derailment that they have had, which was so fun, and I'm very excited. I've also been informed that I'm being bullied into giving them an episode of Ramblemancy. So,
There's really nothing you can do.
Sometimes
about it.
bullying is for good.
my hands are tied
Yeah.
on this one, I think.
That's literally
so.
what they said. And then they literally said that during the episode, like cyberbullying is good sometimes.
Good.
Anyway, an absolutely delightful crew of people playing some Waterdeep Dragon Heist. So, Waterdeep Dragon Heist. I have to think about it every time.
Yes,
Monte
I
Cook
think you need to
Games,
do any
thank you so
work
much
for
for
it
the
now.
host. Thank you so much for the host, Monte Cook Games. Thank you for being here. Hello. Just kind of getting through our announcements at the top. Of course, this week's Ramblemancy, Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific time. You can catch John Freeman and I as we talk about. It's really just an excuse for us to talk with you and you to talk with us about anything and everything that you're into right now. So, as some people in the Discord said, this is this is basically going to be the WandaVision episode of Ramblemancy. So, so yeah. But probably not because the finale and all that and spoilers, and so probably not gonna be the WandaVision episode.
Don't make me think about WandaVision. I'll start tearing up.
God, I have so much
I'm
to
just
talk
preparing you
about.
for what's coming tonight, Olivia.
Oh god. And
Anyway.
getting my eyes ready.
Yeah. So, and then of course, actually, no, wait, that's all we have going on this week. So, but yeah, now.
Just want to just throw something in there. I know
Yes.
it's absolute tangent, but it just came to mind just now.
Mhm.
Is Peach like the wonder of our game?
I was actually thinking
know-
about that watching WandaVision.
A little bit.
You'll get that
no.
essay from me later.
Great.
That's Patreon only content.
So, we actually also have a larger announcement, one that we've kind of been working on for a bit, that we are now ready to announce, seeing as how it is the month of March. In the middle of this month, we will be running a kind of for the second half of the month. We'll be running a charity campaign for the Human Rights Campaign. A lot of it will be running through just our regular programming, but it will all cap off at the end of the month on March 31st, which will take the place of Infinite Horizon that day. That's a Wednesday, so it will take the place of Infinite Horizon that day. But we are going to be running a one-shot, and I suppose I can tell you what it's gonna be, and literally nothing else about it. So it's going to be a very special Mall Kids one-shot. Mall Kids designed by Matthew Gravelin, friend of the channel and many of us. It's gonna be a Mall Kids one-shot that is set in the Infinite Horizon universe. The way that Matthew put it, space teens in space malls.
Ah, beautiful.
So, we are yeah. So this is an idea we've been cooking up for a while, and finally found a great place to like sort of fit it into what we're doing. So that's what we're gonna be doing on the 31st, March 31st. Mark your calendars. We'll let you know more about it as we go on, but it's gonna be a whole lot of fun. It's gonna be extremely chaotic. That much I can guarantee, even without knowing anything else about it. Gemini says, any tie-ins? Maybe. You'll have to watch and find out. So that's so that's what we've got coming. Those are kind of our big announcements. I think that might be most of our big announcements. So yeah. I think then if there's nothing else, we can get into the episode with something that I am very excited about. Let's get into tonight's episode of Infinite Horizon. And welcome back, everybody. Oh, yet another thing that we have been sitting on for a very long time.
For so long.
Oh, don't worry, John. I'm definitely going to play it again. I
want to see it again.
We've been sitting on this for a very long time. And those of you who were paying attention at the end may have noticed that the title theme was commissioned from one Colm McGinnis. Colm, many of you may know from such things as Welcome to Wildmount, which he did for Critical Role. Colm is an amazing composer who, like, literally the day I commissioned him had, like, by the end of that day had like a full like draft for me. It was incredible.
I've listened to, not even exaggerating, hours of that 52-second piece, hours on repeat. And not even while I was working on it. I've just had it on for days.
Yeah. So
damn good. Damn good.
I am so excited about this intro. You have no idea how hard it was to not talk about this for so long. Because we've had the title theme. We've had it done for like a month now. And it was just a matter of like getting everything else together. So it was
working fast enough.
Sitting on that was very, very, very difficult for me, my ADHD brain, who wanted to just like. So anyway, before we get into tonight's recap, we're just gonna play it again because it's just excellent.
One more time.
So here we go. Oh, that's not the right screen at all. Well, also there's a new recap screen, just so everybody knows. Anyway.
Hey.
And welcome back. All right. Well, let us get into tonight's episode, starting with the recap. After the initial shock of seeing Vix use his powers again, Bina and Alma quickly set to testing Vix's rediscovered abilities. Though Vix was able to continue mimicking Alma's powers, he still could not reproduce those of the rest of the crew. Somewhat disturbed by Vix's powers manifesting, Taeyeon excused himself to meet with Scrapyard Squadron. Together they were able to form a plan of attack to take down the Voidcaller, wherein a small team would jump out of a moving Awakener to infiltrate the cruiser and introduce a computer virus, thus preventing it from launching fighters to defend itself. Excuse me. The next morning, the crew launched alongside Scrapyard Squadron, using Ada's stolen IFF signals to close with the Voidcaller and its fighter escorts without being noticed. Between the element of surprise, Scrapyard Squadron's peerless skill, and the crew's superpowered efforts, Bina was able to land Ada, Vix, and land being a relative term in this case, land Ada, Vix, and Taeyeon on the Voidcaller. In the midst of combat, Hooligan, the ostracized member of Scrapyard Squadron, flew back to the settlement to prevent an incursion of pirates on the colony while their allies were occupied in orbit. Hooligan was able to destroy all but one vessel of the pirates' surprise force before her ship was badly damaged, rendering her weapons and flight controls inoperable. With no other members of her squadron nearby and a dropship full of pirates descending on Farhope, Hooligan took the last option available to her to destroy the ship and save the settlement, ramming the dropship with her damaged fighter. Awakener arrived moments later, and using a combination of Awakener's tractor beams and Mason's flight rig, they were able to recover Hooligan's body before she plummeted to the ground. And that is where we left off. So, yeah. Given that that's where we were last time, hold on, I need to close this now because I don't need the recap anymore, and y'all are, I'd rather see your faces.
Aw, thanks.
All right. So, when we left off, Awakener had dropped Taeyeon and Vix and Ada on the outer hull of the Voidcaller, the pirate frigate that was in low orbit around. Well, it was not in low orbit; it was in atmosphere by that point. On the hull. And then soared away to go and assist the rest of Scrapyard Squadron with their fighter problem. Now, as that was taking place, Taeyeon and Vix and Ada were rushing along the surface of the pirate vessel. And I believe that is where we are going to pick up tonight. So, for that, we need a bit of an atmosphere change here, by which I mean any at all. Here, let's get back into this. This is a good one. So, this is what I should have tested sound on. So, Taeyeon, you and Ada Sprix, as well as Beach's brother Vix, have landed on the outer hull of the ship. Currently, you're taking cover behind one of the larger outcroppings. You see as Vix leans out from around it, looking up ahead, fighter battles taking place in the air around you. Every once in a while, some of their missed shots coming uncomfortably close to where all of you are sort of huddling for cover. At this point, Vix kind of glances around, looking towards. All right, yeah, that's kind of what I was worried about. Thank you, Gemini. Just a little bit. How's that? Let me know if the music's okay there. I had to sort of reset a few things. Okay. Great. So you can see as Vix, he leans around and looks up ahead, and then very quickly ducks back around the corner as a strafing run, just sort of along where he kind of near where he was. As he pulls back, he says, "Okay, it's about 20 meters across open hull to the hangar doors. Think we can make it?
I think we can make it. Just don't stop.
Yeah, good call. Good call. He just sort of like re-shoulders the rifle that he has sort of strapped across his back, and he glances out and says, "Okay, all right." And he sort of like says, "Okay, everybody hold still. This takes a lot of concentration." And he just like reaches out, and you can see as he sort of begins glowing in an almost Bina-ish way, just sort of around the edges. He just sort of reaches out, and for a second you feel your attention just completely slide off of him, and then slowly, almost as if like suddenly you've been like moved inside of a bubble, your attention snaps back to him, and you're aware of him again. As he's sort of holding his arms out, he says, "Okay, let's make this fast because I do not think I can hold this for long. Let's go."
Okay, yeah, no, let's go.
And so, cloaked in his field of sort of inattention, the three of you just begin sprinting across the hull. So, Drac, I'm gonna have you make a speed roll here. This is gonna be just a basic running check here.
Is there any difficulty? I need to be?
Yes, there is. That's probably important for you to know. The difficulty on this one is going to be 4, I think. Yeah, 4 on this difficulty.
I'm going to actually hold on. Let me see if I actually have anything.
Is this just a moving check, like just to run
Yep.
fast? Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Blend in helps with certain speed things, but not all.
Right. No, this is not a speed defense.
Yeah.
So
I want to use 1 level of effort to lower that down 1.
sounds good. So down to a 3.
I think I'm just gonna roll from there.
Sounds good. All right. So you just need a 9 or better.
10.
10.
10.
Perfect. Sorry, I'm arranging things in front of me here. Okay. So, as you begin sprinting across the hull, the three of you keeping in relatively close proximity to each other, as Vic's sort of standing, holding this bubble of inattention, you all just begin sprinting across the hull. You can feel the deck or the hull plating underneath your feet slick with the rain with the condensation from the clouds that are still that still have not completely burned off from the previous night's storm. And as you're rushing, you can see where impacts from starship weapons are striking the outer hull. In some cases, you can see where they're being some of the more powerful ones are being absorbed by sort of some of the energy absorption that are common to ships of this type. But as you're rushing forward, I'm going to offer you a GM intrusion, Drac.
God damn it. Yeah, I'll take it.
All right. So go ahead and take an XP and designate somebody else to take the other one.
I'll give it to... I'll give one to Mason.
Okay, sounds good. And I'm going to do something that I've never done before, because I've never had this before now. I'm going to draw from the GM intrusion deck. So,
oh, wow. Okay.
So
What? You have that?
I do have that. So thanks so much to Count Zero or Josh from Angel Citadel. Thank you so much, Josh and Joanne. They both were nice enough to buy me the GM intrusion deck, and I appreciate it very much. My players, maybe less so. Let's find out.
Yeah, I guess I'm gonna die now. Thanks.
Okay,
We'll just
so
spice it up.
as you're rushing across the outer hull, making your way towards where you can see like the rise that reaches the top, like kind of the top of the ship's hull, where you can see the door, the bay doors that sort of split lengthwise along the top of the hull. You are rushing forward, and you can see, Taeon, just a split second, you can see off to the side, near where you're rushing, there's sort of like some some sort of like device on the surface of the ship, perhaps some kind of power relay or something. You're not sure exactly what it is. You can see just in those last few seconds, right before it overloads, possibly due to damage sustained from misfires or just impacts on the hull, and you watch as it just bursts outwards in just sort of a storm of plasma.
Okay.
Let's see. This is going to be this one is going to be a speed defense roll. However,
okay.
here's the thing. Because you're not being targeted, this would be ambient damage.
Yeah.
I don't think I don't think that's going to come into play here. So.
Okay.
AoE, not a direct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Layer action. It's a layer attack.
Layer attack, yeah.
The difficulty of this, by the way, is only going to be a 3. So.
Okay, so I'm trained in speed defense rolls. That brings it down to 2.
Perfect.
I think that is it. Since it's an AoE, I think that's all I can really do. That makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with that.
All right. So you just need a 6 or better.
Ugh. 9.
9. Great. So you rush forward, and as this happens, you can see like there's just the explosion, just like arcs of electricity shooting out from this damaged power relay. You just at the last second call out, and the group just sort of turns and just starts like just at the last second with Ada like dives flat and like basically slides across the slick hull of the vessel. Vix just has to stop, like stops dead and backtracks as this explosion goes past. Taeyeon, you would have gotten the brunt of it, frankly, but like you were able to see it just in time and veered out of the way. All right.
We keep an eye out for more of those kind of. This ship is taking a lot of hits. There's going to be probably a few more explosions like that.
Right. So with that, you're able to rush up the rest of the way up on top, where as you're approaching this open hangar bay, looking as you just crest the rise, you see a fighter that rises up from it, almost level with you, and then sort of pitches and then takes off into the sky.
Oh, okay.
Vix looks down. He goes, "Looks like we're gonna have to hurry. Who knows how many fighters they're gonna be able to launch before we can get to the hangar control."
Yeah, how many was that so far? Do you know?
I haven't been counting. I've been trying not to get shot. Also,
No, that's
holding
fair.
this is a lot.
Yeah, I can tell. I think I'm sweating a bit.
Yeah. He glances down, says, "After you."
Okay. And he's gonna just jump down.
Yeah, sounds good. I'm not gonna make you roll here just because I'm pretty sure you'll be able to manage this pretty easily. So you just jump down into basically like a launch corridor that runs a significant length of the middle of this vessel. And as you land, you basically land in what is effectively like a runway in the midst of these huge bays to either side of you, where you can see fighters are being sort of loaded in into launch positions. And as you land down there, you hear that familiar fluttering of wings as Ada just sort of gently lowers herself down, and just to the other side of you, you can hear the clattering as Vix lands, not particularly gracefully.
You need to work on your landings, really.
I'm gifted in other ways. Let's go.
No, I'm not gonna do that. So yeah, I think as we're running through, I'm just gonna like try and take a. What am I looking at? What does it look like? Are people like rushing to the ships right now?
So actually, since you're inside, I think I'm going to change up some of this atmosphere a little bit. Yes, basically what you're looking at right now is you're seeing a lot of people. Where is it? There it is. You have the music only version. Yeah, you're seeing pilots basically being rushed to the ships. You can see basically like a lot of their maintenance stuff appears to be automated, actually. So whereas Scrapyard Squadron had a certain number of maintenance crew per vessel. Here, you can actually see that most of their personnel seem to be pilots. So like a lot of the maintenance needs are taken care of. So you're basically what you're seeing is just these large mechanical arms that are swinging around and like doing some like small welding on the outer hulls of some of these fighters, and then going around. Some of them, others are bringing basically like conveying starfighters into launch positions, and you can see them bringing more and more. There are still quite a few fighters in here that have not launched, like enough to easily overwhelm Scrapyard Squadron.
Oh, this is not good. Okay, we need to be fast. While running through, is there anywhere? So these automated like maintenance, quote unquote, crews. Are there any like important bits that are exposed that I could possibly grab, like just touch? I just need to touch them. That's all I need to do.
Let's see. I could have you roll for it, or you could use a player intrusion here. So that's up to you.
Oh, okay. I want to think of a good player intrusion because I've never done that before.
That's right. Like, I feel like that's one of the things that we don't emphasize enough on this show. So I'm gonna be reminding you guys for a while that that's a thing you can do.
Yeah, and I'll use a player intrusion to have like
Okay.
something that seems to be powering, or at least important to the function of some of these maintenance drones to be in view.
Sounds good. So just spend 1 XP on that one. As you quickly glance around, you can see where there does appear to be a mechanic droid that basically is like waist deep into what looks like some kind of like a control panel or something. You can see that a lot of the bulkhead plating has been removed to sort of expose these large power conduits that are running up and disappearing into the ship. Not sure what it is, but it looks important.
Okay, Vix, I know we're rushing this, but can your inattention bubble reach as far as there? And I like point at
He goes,
the.
Oh, you're killing me. Okay.
You can also come with. That's also an option.
Yeah, let's do that one.
Okay.
All right, so you make your way over.
And
yeah, go ahead.
I don't want to place a hand on it and exile it. I just want to shunt it out, just make it disappear.
All right. I'm not going to make you roll for this because there's no point. There is no point in making you roll for anything. Nobody knows you're here. Nobody's trying to stop you. It's an inanimate object. It cannot resist you. So you just reach out and kind of around the droid that is kind of basically like full on like in the guts of this panel of whatever it is. You just sort of reach out, and the entire at least the section of the power conduit that you can see just like warbles in place and then just sort of vanishes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we probably need to move quickly because they're definitely gonna notice this. And like, come Vix, let's go.
Yeah. Vix.
I should give us like 10 minutes.
Yeah. The three of you keep going. At this point, I am going to say actually at this point that you know what? Vix is not. I'm not even gonna make this. I'm not even gonna make this as an intrusion. This is just gonna happen because between Vix being very brand new at using this power like this, and also you're using yours while in it, as soon as you finish, you can feel that inattention bubble. It's almost like the way that it feels is like there's just sort of there's been kind of like a very light, vaguely annoying breeze at the back of your neck, and now it's just gone. And you just feel it, and Vix goes, "Oh, that's probably not good."
Yeah, no, let's move quick. Ada.
Yeah, Ada just goes right, reaches in, reaches down, withdraws a pistol, and then you watch as she just splits in two. And yeah, so now the four of you start moving. Ada points all the way towards the aft end of the launch corridor, up kind of towards the top, where you can see sort of like a window, a set of windows that look out over the launch corridor. And she points, she says, "That looks like hangar control right there."
Okay. We don't know. We're kind of walking in here blind, so we don't really know how to get there. Should we just move?
I think so. Quiet or fast?
He kind of looks at Vix. We should just try and do quiet first.
Vix nods.
I think I bought everyone at least 10 minutes after shunting some of those.
Yeah, you can actually see looking up above where like some of the cranes that were conveying fighters into position to launch have just stopped. They've just frozen completely. You can see that chaos that's causing and the confusion that's causing in a lot of the pilots who are waiting for their vessels to be brought to them is, for the moment, it's taking priority in their like awareness. So you have yet to be discovered. Vic says, "Okay, that sounds good, but full disclosure, I don't think I have another one of those in me right now. So."
Yeah, no, you're good. After quiet, and if that doesn't work, fast and loud, I guess.
Vix nods and like pulls the basically like pulls the rifle around so that it's still like the strap is still over his shoulder, but now it's kind of, he can hold it in sort of a ready position.
Yeah.
He says, "All right, I'm ready." All right, so
I'm gonna head out. Is there any, like, as we're walking through, is there any like indication whatsoever of how to, like, directions and stuff? I know we don't have
most
like,
likely you can see like several doorways towards the far end of the, like, near on the same wall as the as the hangar as the hangar control that Ada indicated. Presumably going into the rest of the ship, likely that's where you'll be able to find any kind of entrance to hangar control. So I am going to have you make, this might be like the first stealth roll that's not true, but this is,
We do them rarely enough.
it's rare,
It's a
rare
big
enough
deal.
that like this is the first stealth roll of season 2. Let's put it that way. All right, so
I think so. Because I think the last time we did it was the end of season 1.
yeah, like rescuing the other supers. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and have that roll. It's going to be I'll let you decide in this case whether you're going to use speed or intellect. Just because, like, I think either applies pretty well.
Yeah.
Speed for like quickly darting between like cover, and intellect for like planning out, like you're like, oh, that looks like cover right there, and like.
Yeah. I'm gonna go intellect just because I have a ton in my pool for that.
The difficulty is going to be. I have all of my notes just like scattered across my desk. So the difficulty on that is going to be 3.
Okay. Does power shift apply in this?
You know what? Yes, I think I'm going to allow the power shift to apply here.
Okay. I got power shift in that. I'm going to use a 3 level of effort because my edge covers that. I think that's all I'm going to go with.
All right. Sounds good.
Sounds like what is that?
1 now? Is that you lowered it twice?
I lowered it by 2.
Okay,
Yeah.
so yeah, difficulty 1. You just need 3 or better.
Oh, okay. 7.
Okay, great. So
Rolls aren't high, but they're enough.
yeah, as you're looking around, you're sort of plotting out the route. You notice where there are like stacks of like supply crates and things like that, as well as some places where where there's like stairs that go up to catwalks, probably maintenance ways up above. And as you're looking at this, you basically like the Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock Holmes, right? Like you just sort of everything just sort of slows down. You just start like noting like the different places where you can hide and walk unseen, and then you just start leading the way, ducking behind piles of crates. At one point, as you're making your way through, you sort of look around the edge of the crate, and pull back just as a trio of pilots start running past, in the opposite direction that you're going, and then you just continue moving on. At one point, I will say, you glance down one of the sort of like larger bay doors that's sort of in the back of the hangar ready prep area, and you can see as those doors are closing behind, you can see a pilot who is climbing into like a heavy mech. As those doors sort of close as you pass.
Okay. The corps really have decked out these pirates.
Vix shakes his head and says, "Yeah, why don't we have a mech?"
I mean, if all goes well, we could have a mech, and we could probably take that mech if we finish with this.
Hell yeah, I'm for that. I'm all for that. He kind of glances up ahead. He says, "Looks like we're almost there."
Yeah. Follow me.
All right. So you make your way forward. Now, for the difficult part, there is only, like where you are on your side of the hangar, there is only one sort of larger door that leads into kind of the rest of the interior of the ship, presumably where the hangar control access is. However, it is also a heavily trafficked area where you can see there are pilots kind of rushing in and out, and a couple of maintenance droids, like basically like a whole squad of maintenance droids that are currently marching out, presumably to fix whatever you broke. Currently, the three of you crouched behind some like tool crates, looking over. Vix is kind of looking, and Ada glances over at you, Taeyeon, and she says, "I don't know that we're gonna make it through there quietly."
Yeah, I'm starting to think we might not be able to. Are you ready for a gunfight?
She like the two Adas look at each other and then look at you and both nod in unison. Vix looks at her and just goes, "That's really disturbing when you do that. You know that, right?"
I think you're just jealous.
He says, "Yeah, maybe." And he just like takes the rifle and just sort of sets it up props it up on the crate, and just says, "Okay." Ada leans over and just sort of reaches over and just flips a little switch. She says, "I want to turn the safety off," and then turns back around.
Taeyeon absolutely, like, he has to stifle a laugh. Like, he's just like, oh boy, it's very embarrassing, Vix, but you know.
He says, hey, gun safety is very important.
I won't argue with that.
All right.
Do you want to stay up here and take shots from up here, and I can attract their attention?
Sounds good. Ada looks at you and says, "Attract their attention?" Says, "Well, let's see who gets the most." And you watch as both of her versions just dart around either side of the pile of crates and just start rushing, just immediately opening fire on the squadron of maintenance droids, and one by one she's just mowing them down, like they're just
God
falling.
damn it.
Yeah.
We didn't say go. And he's gonna run out and like fast step immediately into like the midst of the battle.
Excellent. All right. We're not gonna bother with initiative here, basically, as you clearly all have the jump on them. So, yeah. So you far step right into the center of the maintenance droids, who, all unarmed and not programmed or equipped for combat, basically are operating as a pretty solid barrier for you right now. Like, they're good cover right now as they are thrown into confusion. As one Ada Sprix kind of flutters up and goes high, and the other one's like, you watch the other as she slides in behind a bunch of more crates, peeks up and just starts opening fire into some of the pilots that are now reaching for their sidearms. So Taeyeon, what are you doing?
Oh, I'm immediately firing.
Okay.
Just taking a shot straight away. How close? What's the closest person to me right now? Are they like within long range, short range, or medium?
It's within short range. Yeah.
Okay. Can I movement? Is movement a free action to move up to short range, or is it medium?
No. In immediate range, you can do that.
Immediate.
You can do immediate
Okay.
range. Yeah.
I want to move up I'm gonna use that range, immediate range, and just move that distance and
Okay.
then take a shot
Sounds good.
at the nearest one.
All right, go ahead and give me an attack roll, the difficulty of which is going to be 3.
3. I think I take that down immediately. I am, 2 accuracy and 1 in a single attack
Yeah,
with a medium
perfect.
blaster.
Are you gonna roll at all anyway?
Yeah,
Okay.
I never know. 2.
2. Okay, doesn't matter. You're still good. You just,
Oh, that was close.
you succeed.
Yeah.
You fire off a shot at one of the pilots who is like focusing on like Ada, who is like the Ada who is like airborne. He turns, pulling his side blaster, and you just catch him straight in the chest. As he like catching him in the chest and spinning him on his axis as he just sort of like goes sprawling to the deck.
I'm gonna shoot him again in a rapid attack.
Okay.
if he's stood up,
he's
if
down,
stood-
but there are others,
he's down,
so you
okay.
can go
Yeah,
ahead.
I want to immediately turn and just again fire
Sounds
at the
good.
nearest one.
All right, same thing. Are you rolling?
Yep,
Okay,
I'm always gonna fish for that 20.
fair.
9.
Okay, all right. The next one, you just immediately turn and fire at the other one, as he also goes down, just immediately, straight to the deck plating. As you are firing, you kind of glance over and you see one of the other pilots who is now like zeroed in on you, and you just hear a blast, which just catches him right in the chest, and he goes flying off of his feet, slams into the bulkhead, and then just collapses onto the deck. You turn around and you can see Vix, who is like stumbling a little bit. He's like, I love this, and he just like hoists it up and just starts running towards you.
God, just make sure you don't aim it at me, okay?
All right. With that, like basically like the trio of pilots that was there, like they're down. But at this point, you can see that you've attracted attention from elsewhere on the hangar floor, and you can see as others are starting to make their way towards you.
So, how close? So, this is just the hand controls and stuff. So, we're trying to get Ada to the controls and get her there safe. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So looking through the doorway, Taeyeon, you glance to the right, and you can see where the corridor goes from the hangar door, like it curves around, but splits before the full curve of the hallway splits into there's a lift that's right there.
Okay.
I mean, you can see it's clearly marked hangar control.
Do you want to rush into the lift? I mean, we can get them into a sort of bond like down this hallway and just pick them off.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Vix kind of has his back to both of you as he's like leaning on the door frame and just sort of firing covering shots out into the hangar bay.
So I'm gonna rush over to the lift and like, obviously you're still looking around just in case someone else comes down at the bend or anything.
Yeah.
And call the lift.
All right. So, as the lift starts coming down, you can hear from around the corner, you can hear marching footsteps. Like, not marching, but like you can hear several sets of running footsteps. Vix kind of looks over his shoulder, he says, I got it. And he like hefts the rifle around and just like puts his shoulder up against the corner and then just sort of whips around and then just starts opening up down the hallway. with just these huge blasts down the hallway. You can hear the opening of weapons fire as Vix is just sort of sitting there. The lift comes down, and you see as like the doors just open up. Immediately in the lift, you can see a pirate who looks at you, is looking down, sort of like adjusting his flight suit, and looks up at you. His eyes go wide, and he just reaches down immediately for a weapon.
I'm gonna immediately I wanna exile him. I'm gonna immediately reach out and boom right in the face.
Yeah, I just imagine just to reach out and tap right in the forehead. And let's see. I am gonna have you roll on this one though. This one's this is just gonna be a difficulty 3 intellect task. So
Okay.
nothing too difficult.
Yeah, I'm gonna use my 3 level of effort and bump it down to a 2 and just roll from there.
All right, sounds good.
15.
Yeah, he reaches down. His hand has barely closed around the grip of his pistol, and then you just tap him in the forehead, and he just is just gone.
You have to save at least some of the shells in this.
All right, Ada looks in the lift and looks around and says, "Okay, I think I can work with this." At this point, Taeyeon, as you glance over to see how Vix is faring, you see as he goes, "Oh no, and he like rushes back away, throwing himself away from the wall, and you hear it before you see it. You hear the sound of, and I actually have a thing for this. It's worth the wait, I promise. So you hear the sound of a metallic clinking on the deck plate. And you see as Vix throws himself away, and there's a huge blast. I need you to make a speed defense roll, the difficulty of which is going to be 3.
Can I do something else?
Sure, yeah. What are you doing?
I have an ability called countermeasure.
That's right. Yeah.
I think so. So countermeasure. You immediately end up ongoing effects within immediate range. Alternatively, you can use this as a defense action to cancel an incoming ability attacked at you, or can cancel any device or the effect of any device for 1d6 rounds. You must touch the effect or the device to cancel it.
Okay, so Vix throws himself away from the explosion, and basically the way that this goes... Hold on, I think I have a thing for this too. This is going to be fun. I've been waiting for an excuse to use this. Hold on.
Sound effect.
I think he's still not buzzing, but almost that energy from the core in his suit is still kind of wafting off him from the recent exile of the pirate in there. So just immediately still with the same energy pulsing through him, he just reaches out.
Do I have it? Where is it? Hold on. This is worth it. This is gonna be worth it. So okay. So here's what I am actually gonna need you to still. This is gonna be a task. The difficulty of which is. I'm going to say the difficulty of this is going to be increased by a step just because of the timing that is required here. So it's actually going to be a difficulty 4 on this. So yeah.
What kind of task is this?
This will definitely be an intellect task. Definitely an intellect task.
My parachute probably wouldn't help in this. Right?
Probably not. Yeah, probably not. Not
fair.
here.
I'd take my 3 level of effort to bump it down to a 3. And I'm gonna spend another effort to bump it down to a 2, just to make sure.
Okay.
And I'll roll with that.
All right.
Thank God, that's 7.
Okay. So as the grenade just explodes there on the deck, everything just sort of slows down as you just reach out as this is exploding. You reach out as the edge of the explosion. Time seems to slow around you as you see the air just sort of rippling as it's being pushed and compressed by this detonation. And as you reach out your palm straight out towards it, as soon as it touches your hand, you watch as it just stops, and then just it goes right back in, reversing the explosion, reversing itself back to the grenade. And as
I need to roll.
Yeah.
Because that lasts for 1d6 rounds. So it's probably gonna explode while we're gone, but for 2 rounds.
Okay. So yeah, it just sort of, and there's just a grenade now just left sitting there on the deck. Vix looks at you, looks at the grenade, looks down the hallway, presumably where the pirates are, and he just rushes, scrambles for the grenade, takes the butt of the rifle, and just whacks the grenade down the corridor. As it clatters down, you can hear the scattering, shouting voices down the hallway as they all just go scattering. Vix just sort of pushes himself away, like from it, scrambling back around the corner to where you are. Ada like reaches down, puts an arm under his, and like starts kind of helping him to his feet. And he stands up. He looks at you. He goes, "That's definitely gonna buy us a little bit of time, but yeah, we should go."
No, to the left. I kind of cinch my hand actually still.
All right, so let's see. As you all duck into the lift, the doors closing in front of you, you hear, just as the doors are closing, that explosion of the grenade down the hallway. And the lift rides up to hangar control. All right, so let's see. So as you get up to the top, you watch as the lift doors open, and Vix currently is reaching down and just sort of fumbling with one of like the chrome cylinders that he has at his belt, and he just sort of clicks the button, and you see as like from the end of the cylinder, just like it did on Awakener, you see as like this sort of thin metal cord, sort of prehensile cord, just sort of like extends out from it and then just electrifies. Says, "What? Close quarters, probably."
Fair. Not everyone's skilled enough to use a gun up close.
Wouldn't want to blast anything that doesn't need to be blasted.
Fair point. Oh. So what am I looking at right now?
All right. So as you're coming up, you see the door stops, is just about to open, and it's just in those like heart-stopping beats, like right before like you're just waiting, and as the door opens, you see a bunch of like what look like hangar technicians, just sort of sitting like basically control operators. There's just sort of sitting at the controls. One of them glances around and double takes and looks back at you.
I immediately just train a gun.
Okay.
Don't press any buttons. Don't make any sounds.
I am going to have you make a roll. This is gonna be an intellect task. This is basically an intimidation check here, and you need to make an intellect task. The difficulty of which is going to be 3. I am gonna give you an. You know what? Actually, I'm gonna give you an asset for Vix, who is in one hand sort of like holding a big gun, and in the other hand holding an electrified whip, just sort of standing there next to you. And then there's just like the 2 Adas who are like, each of them are just sort of standing behind, just sort of, yeah, exactly. Doing the like
Charlie's Angels,
yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm
She's
gonna go ahead
both
and
of
give you an asset on that. So it's actually going to be a difficulty 2.
I use my free level of effort to bring that down to a 1. I'm just gonna roll with that.
All right.
3. My rolls are so.
Three or better.
So you see as like they. Like there's probably 4 or 5 of them in here, and all of them, they look like, several of them went for weapons. Several of them they stop immediately. One of them continues going for his weapon. The other one grabs his wrist and just says, "Not worth it."
I'm like usher them like with my gun, just make them move over to a corner away from like the panels and stuff.
Vix goes, "All right, everybody, everyone in the lift, and nobody gets whipped." And they all just sort of like start backing away from the panels and like slowly making their way into the lift. As one Ada covers one side of the lift, Vix covers the other side, and the other Ada is like already making her way towards the control panels. All right.
I'm probably looking for like, are there any other exits and entrances to this place?
Yeah, there is. It's symmetrical, so there appears to be a hangar control entrance on both sides of the room. It's sort of basically, it's a vaguely trapezoidal shaped room, with sort of the wider side facing out towards the hangar, and then just sort of so like on one of the kind of the angled arms is where the lift entrance is, and on the other end, it's sort of symmetrically that way.
Okay.
And
is anyone covering the other one? I think you said Vix was right.
Yeah, Vix is covering one side and Ada's covering the other.
Okay, cool.
So like they all like sort of shuffle into the lift, and Vix goes, "See you later," and just hits the button, and the lift closes, and just he then takes takes the rifle and just blasts the controls to the lift. All right, says, all right, computer girl, do your magic. And she looks at him and says, "We're not calling me that." And she goes back to she goes back to the.
You know, like, here go. Okay, at least come be a woman. Come on.
Vix goes, "Listen, I'm very hyped up on adrenaline right now. Okay."
Yeah, no, I can tell you're having way too much fun with that whip.
She goes, "You know what? It might be wrong to admit this, but I am actually having a lot of fun right now."
Turner's like, oh boy, okay.
All right. So, Ada is sitting at the controls and basically like reaches into one of her pouches and just slides the information shard just into the jack, and just starts typing away. She's okay. Let's see here. No. That's what I thought. She says, always have backup systems. You never know who's gonna get through your shields. And she just keeps going. She says, and all right, looks like we are at this point. You hear Vix on the other side of the room by the lift going, think we're about to have company. And you turn and you see that like the indicator on the lift is that they're on the other side, the one that Vix didn't blast. The indicator is showing that like the lift is approaching.
Oh, how soon does it seem like? Is it like the floor below us, below that?
Yeah, no,
like...
literally it's like we're talking like a 15-20 second lift ride.
Oh, okay. God damn it.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, no, there's nothing I can do before that.
No.
I think I was training I'm just sitting like probably behind like a panel or like even in fact just right behind the wall that like it's like the lift and then the wall right next to it. I'm probably like sitting there.
Yeah.
Waiting.
Ada's saying, okay, I think it's okay, we're uploaded. And as she says that, the lift doors, as you and Vix are training your weapons on the lift doors, they don't open, they explode outwards. As basically knowing that you are in here, that you have all kind of come in here, and seemingly recognizing some vulnerability on their part, the pirates literally destroying parts of their own ship, blast open the lift doors. So, Taeyeon, I don't think you're quite close enough to catch any of this ambient damage, but Vix super is. So,
oh boy.
So Vix, who is basically right there, just gets thrown back off of his feet as the explosion goes out. Debris and shrapnel just peppering the room. A part, like one shard of debris, just you watch, Tan, as it zips, it grazes your arm, and you can see where it sort of slices into your suit a little bit. And yeah, you see basically what is essentially a full like security team, about half of what would be a full security team that is basically rushing into this room of like probably 4 or 5 pirates, well armed, just rushing into this room. So
I immediately, oh god.
Yeah, what are you doing?
Immediately he's gonna like tap himself and produce his resonant field.
Mm-hmm.
Again, like the crystals of time essentially kind of float around him and then dissipate after a few seconds, and he's gonna immediately just start taking shots to some of the closest ones.
I believe. So is that an action to initiate that?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's an action to do the resonance field, and because of rapid attack, I get to do another attack for every action I do.
Perfect.
So use
all right. So yeah, then go ahead and give me a roll. Difficulty 3.
Okay, I'm gonna reduce it to 0 again.
Perfect.
I'm gonna roll it. 19.
Ooh, great. That's a minor effect. So, yeah, you fire at one of them, one of the ones leading the charge into the room, through just sort of the haze of smoke and dust, and firing at the first one, he just goes down, like full on like face plant into the room. And you have a minor effect.
They get a turn. Oh yeah, what's the minor effect? What's the minor effect again? I keep forgetting to actually like write this down.
Yeah, minor effect could be basically anything that sort of helps for just sort of a small instance. I have the
Small
reference
game.
somewhere, but I don't have it open. So
Yeah, no, you're good.
so
Could
like basically
I-
something like a daze might be considered a minor effect, whereas stun would be considered like a major
major.
effect. Yeah.
Okay, I'll go with a daze then.
Okay.
I want daze them.
Okay. So
Take
basically,
them by surprise.
yeah. So what does this look like basically? Like what is it? What is like? So you fire off a blast at one of them. So what does this daze sort of look like?
I think I'm still like, right, this is the most I've used my powers like in quick succession.
Mhm.
So I think even like his gun is kind of almost radiating with this energy, and luckily for him, it has been outfitted to like be able to withstand this constant like barrage of chronomatic energy.
Mhm.
So I think as he shoots it, it's almost like it kind of, I think it splits like a probability wave and concentrates on the one person it hits, but like maybe there's one stray that ends up colliding with another person, but it's
Yeah.
like half the energy, so just enough to daze them.
Right. You
or not
watch
do
as one of them, like the next guy, like right behind him, like he stumbles for a second, like almost as if he was like sort of side checked. He's just sort of like stumbles for a second and continues in, and you can see that he's like his footing is like not particularly secure, but he immediately turns to you and like goes to fire. So I need you to make a speed defense roll, and the difficulty is actually 2 because of the daze. So
Perfect. Would have helped me a lot. Okay. I'm trained in speed defense rolls. And I'm gonna use a level of effort
Perfect.
to bump it down to
Down to
0.
zero. All right.
I'm still gonna roll it.
all right.
I don't know what will happen. I'm always gonna attempt fate. A 20.
That's a major effect.
What could major effect be with this?
Honestly, it could be a lot of things. Like you could probably even you've used it I think before as like an additional attack before. You've used it as like
Ooh.
yeah.
Okay, yeah, I want it to be additional attack, but can I flavor it
Sure, yeah,
for a
absolutely.
second? I think like again, our instinct, he kind of like reaches out and touches literally touches the blast of plasma blast and countermeasures it, sending it backwards, and it hits them.
Yeah. So like basically you like send it back, and like just as it's about to like the shot is about to go back into the barrel of the weapon, you let it go, and you just let it keep going back, and it just collides with the weapon, and just like the weapon itself just explodes in his hand, and he just falls back. So
I need to make sure I'm actually able to do this without getting exhausted. I'm already very tired. Like he's just mumbling to himself
Yeah.
while he's doing this.
yeah, there's 2 of them remaining, and you see as one of them turns to you to like to fire again, there's like you can hear sort of an electronic buzzing sound that very suddenly just as like you see this electronic coil wrap itself around his neck and just yank to the side as he just goes slamming into the bulkhead, as Vix like wraps it around him, causes it to like basically stiffen, and then uses it to slam him up against the bulkhead. And then you just see as like he like the pirate falls, collapses, and as the whip pulls back, you can still see like the like electric current like coursing through his body as he's just sort of like being electrocuted just like against the wall right there. Just sort of, he's still up, but you can tell that he is in bad shape. Like he is just sort of like you can tell that his grip on his weapon is like a full-on death grip. So yeah, he's like muscle contractions and everything as he's just sort of like seizing up essentially. All right, so there's one of them left. So Drac, what you doing?
I'm gonna I'm gonna like point at them and point at the others that we just took out and just go, get back in the lift.
I'm not gonna make you roll for this. He's got no backup as he just sort of looks at you, and as the other one stops seizing, he just sort of like grabs him and just sort of like pulls him, sort of like half carrying him into the lift. And they back up into the lift, and just yeah, the doors close, but there's a huge hole in them. So like, you see as the pirates just dip down like below the breach in the door.
They really don't make it how they will eventually. I mean, that's never worked before. It was worth a try. And he kind of like just slots the gun back in his holster. Like, why don't I make pirates like they're going to?
Vic sort of slowly picks himself up off the ground, and he just says, "That was one of the coolest things I've ever seen."
You stick around with me longer, and you see much cooler.
Yeah. You can see that like basically where like you can see like his eyebrows and some of his hair singed a little bit by the blast. You can see where like there's numerous cuts across like the side of his face that are like bleeding openly down the side of his face. Which he basically just just reaches up and just what?
No. We just did something pretty badass. I don't want you to be bleeding all over the place. Let me help you out with that. And I'm going to use repair flesh to basically help. If it's a PC, they get to roll with a +2 to their like recovery roll. So like that's just basically like he gets 2 maybe if he rolls gets a bit more.
Don't worry, I will note it down. He did have. I am tracking Vic's HP, so yeah.
Good.
Oh no.
Ooh, okay, good.
So yeah.
So he just
actually,
kind of like
you wanna tell you what? Why don't you roll that for him then? So then that way.
It's a D6, right?
Yeah, D6, and then does it add anything or just?
Yeah, D6 +2.
Okay.
So like they rolled a normal like recovery roll, like the 1 action recovery roll.
Right. Oh,
and
okay.
They get to add 2 to whatever they roll. So a 6 or 4 plus the 2.
Okay.
Is 6.
Perfect.
Like, and it kind of looks like the energy kind of like wraps around him. And you just see like the cuts, like the blood like just go in reverse back into the wounds.
Yeah.
Like even the one that he rubbed on his shirt like just goes right back into him.
He's
and then seals up.
Yeah. He's like, oh, that felt really weird.
You'll get used to it. I feel like you're going to be getting scrapes and cuts pretty often, honestly. Am I wrong?
I'm not sure how to take that, so I'm just going to ignore it. And he goes over to like where you can see like to the breach in the door of the lift, and he sort of like very lightly taps it for a second to see if like testing temperature basically, and then he like looks into it and looks down. He says, he says they're probably gonna try that again, and well.
Do you want to shoot the look? You can shoot the controls again. I mean, it seems to stop them from the other later.
Yeah, but then getting out.
That is a thing we didn't plan.
Yeah. Ada walks over and just sort of like brushing herself off. Says, "Okay, virus is uploaded. It'll take a minute or two before all of their fighter launch operations are down, but we should be good to go."
Okay. Escape plan. I mean, we can go down the lift.
Yeah.
Might come across a bottom of fire though. You ready for that?
I'm ready. Vix nods and says, "Probably should put this away." Puts the whip on his side and then pulls the gun and says, "Okay, I'm yeah. We got this."
Just gonna hit the controls for to call the elevator.
The lift comes up and the doors just sort of half open, and like basically the rest between you and Vix, you have to kind of like pull them apart the rest of the way. You step into the lift, start making your way down. As you reach the bottom, the doors open, and you see there's one pirate who is standing there, and as soon as the doors open, you see as he sees you and runs around the corner, like of the out of your peripheral vision, basically around the curvature of the corridor. And you hear him yelling, "They're here!"
Shit.
Vix looks at you, says, "Moment of truth. As soon as we come out from around there."
Yep. All guns blazing.
Right. He all right. Hold on. This is very important. Give me a second. Oh, never mind. Okay, so oh wait, no, I do have it. Vix just sort of lifts up the rifle and he just starts to just reloads it and says, "All right, let's go."
Okay. just follow my lead, and it's gonna like basically charge in.
Yeah. You rush around the corner, and this is like a full-on Butch and Sundance moment right now, okay? There's a Butch Cassidy and Sundance moment as you like whirl around the corner, and you just see the corridors filled with pirates, all with weapons readied. The two of you are just caught out in the open, fully unawares, right in front of a firing squad. At this moment, as you two basically like deer in the headlights, you notice that like suddenly like some of like the ambient shadows around the corridors start moving, and you see as some of them detach themselves from the walls, and as they continue detaching themselves, they sort of coalesce. The pirates at this point start to notice. They sort of coalesce into the center of the room, or the center of the corridor, just sort of creating just a big black spot in the middle, like in the middle of your vision, around which you can kind of see some of the pirates, all of whom are sort of like taking involuntary steps back. And as this black spot, like it fills the entirety of the corridor until it's almost opaque, and you can't see around it. And then as it sort of slowly starts to turn slightly translucent, you see that there's someone standing in the middle of it. And as she turns around, you see Peach, dressed very differently than the last time that you saw her. She looks at the group of you, and she just says,
Peach?
"Run." And she turns around as like the darkness just sort of fully envelops her in the corridor. And as that happens, Taeyeon, you start hearing screams from the other side. As the pirates, like weapons start, you hear the sounds of weapons firing on the other side, but none of it is making through this dark cloud in the middle of the corridor. Vix turns and looks at you and says, "We should probably
Yeah.
yeah."
She seems to be handling this.
Yeah. Taeyeon, looking over as you begin running, you look over your shoulder. You see, you hear the sound of like a scream get much like louder as like you see a pirate run like through the dark cloud towards you. And you see as he like pulls up a rifle, and then you just see like this sort of tendril of smoke and shadow reach out, wrap around his face, and just pulls him back in. As his scream is cut short. And in that instant, as you're looking back, you see these just molten yellow irises just sort of peek out from the center of that cloud that make direct eye contact with you. And then you see as they just vanish as like they turn and look the other direction, as you can hear the screams continue, and the whole cloud of darkness just continues moving, advancing down the corridor towards where the pirates were.
I don't remember reading about that, and he just keeps running back.
All right. You run back, kind of doubling back, kind of the direction that you originally came from, passing the lift that you originally took up to the hangar control. As you make your way back to you're running through the door into the hangar bay. Ada goes, "So, any thoughts on how we get out of here?"
I can try fast stepping us. I've never fast stepped other people, but I think maybe I could fast step two of you. I think we're gonna have to get up there first, onto the hull of the ship.
She looks up, she says, "I think we can do that. There," and she points where you can see there's like basically like a maintenance ladder that's built into the wall, into one of the bulkheads that leads directly up towards where you can see the hangar door that is up above.
Okay.
All right.
You head up there. I'm just gonna make sure I keep us covered just in case we're getting followed.
Yeah. She goes. She
Doesn't
like
seem like
looks
Peach
over.
letting-
She like grabs your shoulder. Says, "What was that?"
I don't know. Do you remember anything like that being in the books?
Nothing.
About what Peach could. We can talk to her about this afterwards. I mean,
Yeah.
she helped us. That's all that really matters right now.
Yeah. Vix is noticeably very silent. He is no longer filled with that sort of like jubilant, like adrenaline high of this. He is very quiet. He leads the way across the hangar deck towards the maintenance ladder. And as he gets there, he like ushers Ada forward, who like just starts climbing up the ladder. He looks back towards you.
Okay, I'll take like one more look back to make sure I'm not getting followed or anything, and then I climb.
Yeah.
I start climbing up.
All right. So, you can climbing. You make your way just to the top, back out to the outer hull of the ship. Standing up there, you can see where like the fighting basically has moved somewhat away from the Voidcaller. With right now, basically, you can see even distantly, you can see Scrapyard Squadron has thinned out the fighters that had launched before. They still seem to be in pretty tough position, but the fighting has the dogfighting is not quite as thick as it was when you went in.
Okay.
You reach the top. What are you doing?
No, like again, he had his gun out just to make like full cover fire, but he's set it back down again. I mean, holstered it again. Okay, I've been in some kind of bad brain right now. I haven't used my powers this much, without much rest between it, but I think I'm not really gonna say anything. Just fingers crossed this works. Okay.
That sounds like a terrible plan.
Don't worry. You know, you have to try everything at least once.
Okay, I trust you. Vix just nods.
Ada, could you join back together again? I'm gonna struggle to do.
Right. And she just sort of, both versions of her just sort of meld into each other into one once again.
And he's gonna like place one hand on Vix's shoulder and one on Ada's.
Mm-hmm.
And what he thinks he's gonna do is he's gonna try and fast step as close to the ground as he physically can.
Mm-hmm.
But what he's actually gonna do is use his new ability, teleportation.
Yes. All right.
I didn't know about this.
So, you can feel. You reach out. You can kind of feel that chrono energy just sort of around you, sort of gather like it does when you've leaped short distances. But as you reach for it, you kind of feel the desperation of the situation. And even behind you, it's heightened when you hear the sounds of shouting, and kind of glancing over your shoulder, you can see a couple of pirates that are now making their way up onto the outer hull of the ship and starting to level weapons in your direction. As you see several of them taking a knee down and beginning to aim weapons. Fueled by that, sort of looking at them, looking between Ada and Vix, whose head is sort of down, brow furrowed, and Ada, who's looking up at you just with a very like encouraging expression on her face. You just push that little extra step. And this time, instead of feeling yourself being pulled through time, instead, you watch as space warps around you. You see a point on the ground, not far away. In fact, you are able to sight the settlement from where you are right now. And as you look, you can see like a small clearing area on the opposite side of the settlement from where like the landing zone was. As you focus on that, suddenly it's like you're looking at it almost through like a magnifying glass as everything warps in front of you, and it is suddenly in front of you. And it looks for a moment like an optical illusion, but without even hesitating, you just step off the edge of the Voidcaller, and you just take one step onto the plateau where the settlement is, miles away. And as you do so, you can feel as time sort of reasserts itself. Suddenly, the Voidcaller is just like in a nightmare when you where the corridor just sort of extends or whatever. You actually watch the Voidcaller just rapidly disappear into the distance as you, Ada and Vix, are standing just outside of the settlement.
And it's like immediately just collapses like I think that's a personal best.
I think that's where we're gonna go on our break.
Wow! Talk about exit strategy. Woo!
So
God, you teared up.
for those
That
wondering,
was so
at the
epic.
end of last episode, Taeyeon, as of the end of last episode, Taeyeon is tier 5. So yeah. So we have our first tier 5 character amongst the cast. So
We love to see it.
yeah, that could
So
not have been better
cool.
timed either. Like that.
That was
Yeah, it really could
amazing.
have been.
Ooh.
Oh gosh. All right, everybody. We're gonna take our break now. We'll be back in about 10 or 15 minutes. We'll see you very soon, and we will catch up with the rest of the crew. Don't go anywhere.
Hold on.
What a chaotic scene to come back to. I love that. Welcome,
Oh,
everybody.
God, I didn't know you came back.
Welcome back, everybody. I said I was going back. I said I was going in.
I hoped you saw my chaos and pause.
It's okay. We'll fix it in post.
It's all in the script.
Welcome back, everybody. Things falling off of Olivia's wall aside.
Nothing new.
We are back from our break, and I did say that we were going to be peppering in a bunch of new stuff throughout the stream. Today's our new break screen is in fact a slideshow, as proposed by Caitlin Bruder, and many of the images edited for promotional purposes by Caitlin Bruder. And put together.
I had a lot of thoughts, and
Yeah.
we integrated all of them at once. It's fine.
Put together by me, largely with the help of Streamlabs, because
Yes.
like I basically had no part in that. I was like, let me just take a bunch of images and slap them in here, and Streamlabs did the rest. So thank you, Streamlabs.
And now our breaks are 10% more sexy.
Yeah.
I would say at least like 30%.
Yeah, I think
I'd
it's good 30.
say more.
It's
Actually, I think we should roll a percentile die and figure it out.
Yeah. Let me know what you get.
Chat.
You do it, hold on.
Let us know what you think. What
Realize-
percentage sexier is our
I'm
break?
at 100.
Oh,
Yeah,
Did you really?
I'm not gonna roll and ruin that. Yeah, let's go with 100.
well, you heard the dice have spoken. So
I love that.
Oh,
Oh my
Peach is in the
god.
slide, so at least 90% sexier, apparently.
That's true. That's true.
My face hurts. We just started.
All right. Well, we have returned from break. When we left off, Taeyeon had just, for the first time ever, teleported, using his time powers, teleported himself, Vix, and Ada off of the Voidcaller, the pirate frigate in the air, in the skies above the Farhope settlement. After having successfully rendered its launch protocols inoperable. So, we will come back, I think, to Awakener. We're gonna come back to. I think we're gonna come back to Peach, as you are, you have rushed down to the hold, and you are watching as Mason has flown back up into the airlock, holding just sort of like over the shoulder fireman carrying the body of Hooligan. I'm looking for a thing. Apparently I need to stop.
I'm like opening it as he's coming up, so it's like open for right when they get there.
And as Mason, you're just sort of like pulling up back into the ship, you see Peach just sort of watching you, just sort of having opened the inner airlock door for you as you step back into Awakener.
Yeah, Mason just kind of lands as gently as he can, and I'm gonna head to Med Bay.
Okay.
Peach.
Meet me in the.
Go ahead.
In the.
Do you need help?
In the.
I can give you a hand.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the two of you make your way to Med Bay, where you see Abriel and Patch have already basically like laid out, like have basically fully cleaned up the whole interior of Med Bay and have basically like prepared it for any kind of like to treat any kind of trauma or injury. And as you step in, Abriel just looks at you, Mason, sees your face, and then just put her over there on the table. Patch, strap her down, make sure she doesn't go anywhere while we're maneuvering.
Understood.
Yeah, you set her down on the examination table. And Abriel just immediately like gets to work, like basically like taking a scalpel essentially and just like cutting her out of like free from any of the crash webbing that is still on her. Basically like her helmet is just completely like the visor is fully cracked, and like takes some doing to remove, and basically just sort of like starts freeing her from any like remaining kind of restrictions that she had. Abriel looks over at you, at the two of you, and just goes, "We'll handle it. We'll make sure that she's cleaned up and kept safe."
You don't need a hand?
I think you're probably needed elsewhere more than here.
Right. Of course. Thank you. And Mason's gonna kind of turn around and head out towards the front of the ship.
Take care of her.
I will. And the door closes behind you, Peach, as you step back into the corridor with Mason.
Back to the bridge.
Back to the bridge. See what our status is.
I'm gonna kind of just like place a hand on like kind of Mason's shoulder and like give him like a quick squeeze.
And I kind of just like squeeze your hand. Thanks. Let's go.
We're gonna hurry back over there.
Okay. Short walk from Medbay to the bridge. You enter the bridge to see Bina, Alma, and Jade, who are basically all like just sort of at work. Jade is in the middle of like updating Bina and Alma as to the status of the battle. Looks down and says, "But it looks like Scrapyard is getting control of them. Hopefully, Taeon and the others will have that the launch protocols down soon, so that we can. Otherwise, they're gonna get overwhelmed real quick." He looks at it.
I think as soon as these two walk in the room, Bina will know immediately based on how they feel. So I think they walk in, and I think she doesn't even look back. I think she just like puts her head down onto the console, like in the middle of whatever Jade's saying. Like she just sets her head down on the console.
Alma glances at you,
like breathes,
glances back at the other two, and then transferring controls to co-pilot's chair. And she takes over. Jade glances up very suddenly and says, "We were just talking about where we'd be most needed. I ran a quick scan. Doesn't look like there's any other pirates out this way. It looks like they're all pretty much. This is what they had to throw at us. I don't know how they got in, but under all of our tracking, but I don't know. They must have taken their IFFs offline or something. I don't know."
How does the IF scanner is kind of our way of seeing what their like location and stuff.
So there's just the big ship
and about 2.5 dozen fighters, but yeah. But it looks like Scrapyard's giving them a lot to deal with. So,
Bina, I think we'll sit back up and be like, and we haven't heard back from the drop team yet. So,
yeah. Currently, no other serious casualties as far as Scrapyard is concerned. I can see that. A couple members have had to make emergency landings, but they're okay.
We do what we can. Maybe we go back in there and give them cover fire until we hear from the team. No noise on that, huh?
Well, we can't just stay put. We should go back and join the fight.
Yeah, no, let's make it worth it. And Bina's gonna like fully sit up and start like getting ready controls up as co-pilot.
Yeah.
Bina, you good to fly?
Probably.
As Awakener sort of pulls in like kind of a basically like a 180, just sort of from where it was hovering, just sort of few dozen meters off the ground, just sort of pulls around and starts making its way back towards the fray. As that happens, Alma just very quickly reaches across to where your hand is, Bina, just sort of grabs it, squeezes for 1 second. It lingers there for a second, and then she lets go and goes back to.
Bina will squeeze back when she squeezes.
Mason jumps into the gunner position and kind of like stretches and like, all right, let's shoot some pirates.
Jade stands up and looks at you, Peach, says, "Want your seat back? I've still got to run some repairs on that stabilizer."
Yeah, thanks for keeping it warm.
And he just sort of head down rushes past you. Even in this moment of being overwhelmed with everything, you still can't help but recognize that he's a very different person than the boy that first came on the ship. So, you all sort of get back into sort of very focused silence as you return.
Is there anything else headed towards the planet? I think that would probably be our first assessment.
Sure. Looking at that, it appears that all of the ships that were in the system, all the pirate ships that were in the system, had been recalled, and basically is what made up the majority of the ships that had already launched.
Okay, cool.
With a few joining them as fighters launched from the main bays. As you are making your way back, you hear over your comms crackle, and you just hear, Adis Bricks here. Mission accomplished. They probably won't be able.
Oh, thank God.
They won't be able to launch anything. Not for quite some time.
Do you need pickup? Where are you on the ship?
Oh, don't worry. And you can hear like Tail in the back, kind of like you kind of he's like he's probably underground right now, so he kind of like tap his comms, just yelling so you can hear it in. Ada's kind of like, don't worry, we're in town, we made it.
Yeah, we won't need that. We
Did
made
you
it back.
commandeer a ship?
No.
Not quite. It's fine. Wait, Peach?
Yeah,
Wait, Peach is there?
of course I'm here. Where else would I be?
There's a long pause. There's a long pause. And then...
How did you get back? Did you commandeer a ship?
I've been on Awakener the whole time. Are you feeling all right?
There's another long pause, and then you just hear Ada's voice. We're fine. We'll talk about this later. Right now, looks like Scrapyard is trying to mop up the rest of the ships. They're the ones that are left in the air are the only ones that are coming for a very long time.
Let's finish them off then.
Good job, guys.
All right. Sorry, what were you saying?
Oh, I was just gonna say, Vix is there too, right?
You just hear.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm here.
Good job not dying.
Tried my best. I'm sorry. That wasn't a really funny joke.
Well, nothing new. Okay, well, we're gonna go kill some pirates. Be right back.
All right. So, for the sake of this, I'm actually going to just sort of pass time here, since it sort of seems at this point like the most dramatic elements of all of this have passed. Over the course of the next, maybe 15 minutes or so, between Scrapyard and Awakener, you're able to mop up the other pirates that have that were flying around. While there were two other smaller ships, the other two shield ships, they basically have reverted to a defensive position around the Voidcaller, seemingly to compensate for the fact that the fighter support that they were relying on to defend that large freighter not coming. So they've basically fallen back to a defensive position now around mostly the bridge area of the Voidcaller. And Scrapyard has done, the pirates definitely have numbers, but nobody flies like Scrapyard Squadron. Scrapyard basically very artfully maneuvered a lot of the dogfighting well away from where they would be in range of those smaller vessels, and basically have just pulled in the divide and conquer strategy, where they've taken the fighter escort far from where they would have support from light cruisers. And over the course of the next 15 or so minutes, basically just mop them up. The last thing that I think will be important here, and this one I will have probably make a roll on, which is Alma speaks up. Actually, you know what? It wouldn't she wouldn't be the one to bring this up. But you can hear over the comms the Major's voice. All right, Awakener, that was the last one. What do you want to do about the Voidcaller?
Looks back at the crew.
You didn't come up with a plan for that.
They're pretty powerless right now, but
Crashing it would be nice.
I recommend at the very least, maybe we disable their FTL.
All right.
Put him dead in the water, and then perhaps we have a conversation.
Not expecting that to be particularly illuminating, but we'll follow your lead. All right, so we are going to make.
I think we probably would want to, if we get the entire squadron and Awakener firing at the same shit at the same time,
Okay, so I'll tell you.
all their shields are down.
I'll tell you what. Here's what's gonna happen. This is gonna be a roll, largely for and you can combine efforts using maneuvers and things like that. So I'll leave that to you guys. But I will tell you right now. With Scrapyard, right now, I'm gonna say that basically what Scrapyard is doing right now is negating the. They wouldn't negate. No. So the difficulty right now of this attack would actually be, give me a second, I'm doing math. Yeah, so Scrapyard is essentially providing you with two assets here on the overall difficulty to fire and disable the drive, the FTL. I'm looking for my tables here. Okay, so oh my god, there's so much math here. Okay, so I'm just gonna talk it out. So it's a level 8 vessel, which means that the difference, it's an increase here, and Awakener is a level 4 vessel. So that means that overall that would equate to a difficulty 12, plus the 3 additional steps for disabling the engine and drive, which would be a difficulty 15. Now, with and this is only for the roll to disable that. There still you could make other rolls for any kind of maneuvers or scanning and that kind of stuff. So but by default, without doing taking any additional steps, the total difficulty would be 15, dropped down by 2 for having Scrapyard Squadron helping you out. So it's a 13 all around for Awakener to disable. Actually, no, it's even lower than that. It's lower than that because I wasn't taking into account the stuff the damage that has already been done. So, shields are down, which is going to drop it down to an 11, and then the virus is messing with a lot of different things, primarily the launch systems, but a lot of stuff as well. So it's gonna actually just be a total difficulty 10, is basically where we're at. Now that is just flat without any of your input or anything like that. So that's not taking into account any additional rolls. That's just what it would take right now without doing anything else to take out the FTL. So
can I do a scan, a scan before we shoot to try to kind of help with the kind of the attack pattern and kind of see where they are?
Yeah. So I believe that's not the right thing. Yeah. So that's going to be a scan. So the difficulty on that scan is going to be a difficulty. Is that true? Yeah, difficulty 4.
Okay.
Intellect task. Sorry, 5. It's a difficulty 5.
Damn. Okay. So intelligence power shift, so 4. Free level of effort down to 3. I'm gonna spend. I'm gonna spend 2 levels of
Okay,
effort.
just bringing it down. To is that a 1?
So it should
Down
be
to
1. It's
Yeah.
difficulty 1.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I just need a 3 or better for that deep scan.
I rolled a 3.
Huh?
I rolled a 3.
Okay, perfect. All right, so that then brings the total difficulty down to a 9 for targeting. Anybody else? Actually, really just
Lean to the right side.
really just.
Well, if I'm
Oh, go ahead.
I'm just saying, if I'm making the shot,
Yeah.
right, then I'm the one making the shot. Then I don't. I'll just have to do
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
But I can
Can-
from.
I would say, can Alma help? Because in the past, Alma's been able to help with targeting.
Here's the thing. You're already kind of getting 2 assets from the Actually, that's not true. That's not true. No. He's not getting assets. You're not getting assets from. It's just the difficulty is reduced because of the way that ship combat works. So it's not they're not
Nice.
assets. So yes, Alma can help.
Nice.
Yeah, so that'll be
Is that 8?
yeah, down to an 8.
Mm-hmm.
There's not any piloting things that you can do that help with this.
Not that I've seen, unless like there's something I can do by just be like getting us in a, because there's no other
Yeah.
enemies in the air. I can put us in the perfect spot.
That's
like
true.
that's
like,
the only thing I could think
you don't really
of.
have
But
to worry about. Yeah, I'm actually gonna have you make a piloting roll for that because like that's
cool. I can just level us and keep us perfectly
Mhm.
steady in the exact perfect
yeah.
spot. Like
I don't think you're gonna need
okay.
to do this to make this roll, but I'm gonna have you do. It's going to be a difficulty 5.
Okay.
I don't think that's gonna be too challenging for you.
Piloting.
Yeah.
Tasks involving sight.
This is less about sight, I think, and because this is not going to be something that you can really like do by sight. You'd have to rely on
Mhm.
instrumentation for this. So, yeah,
Cool.
I don't think so.
If I'm using the ship, like, is the ship helping me place it
Sure.
because of the
Sure.
systems?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. No, absolutely. The ship will count as an asset.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, is this an intellect roll?
Yes, it is.
Okay, I have 1 free level.
Oh wait. No, yeah. This is one that would be either. So like, yeah.
Okay,
So it's down to a difficulty 1.
down to 1. Yeah, I think I'm gonna. Oh, I have so many windows open. I'm gonna roll from there.
Alright.
7.
Okay, cool. So you managed to like line up a perfect shot, basically. So that'll bring the difficulty down, an additional,
To 7.
down to
right?
7, yeah. So, yeah. So Freeman,
Okay.
this is a difficulty 7 speed task.
Speed. I don't know why I was so excited about
It's
that.
great.
Can I use? Is there any way that perception would work for this somehow?
Yeah, I think so. I think that'll count, for sure. Like you're basically
just,
sighting
like-
and aiming here. Like,
Yeah. Okay. Okay. 6.
okay, down to 6.
And I'm going to, since this is speed, I'm gonna actually spend for my speed pool.
Okay, yeah. All right. How many levels of effort are you spending?
3.
Okay. All right. So then down to a 3.
I believe a
Yeah.
3. Yes.
Down to 3. That's currently at a 9 or better.
So yep.
It's roughly 50-50.
Okay. All right. No, I'm gonna do my other effort as well.
Okay. Sounds good. So it's down to a 2. So 6 or better is what
Yep.
you need right now.
Come on. Come on. No, on the floor. No. Okay, that's too far away. Good thing I have a backup D20.
There you go. Also on the floor. No.
No.
No floor dice.
1.
Re-roll
I
that.
am. Oh, I am. I just need to announce it.
God.
Oh my god.
I mean, we rolled so much this
Yeah.
game. It was only a
Yeah.
matter of time.
Yeah, season 2, roll heavy for us.
18.
Perfect. Okay, great.
Much better.
It's
Oh,
All right.
jeez.
no numbers in between. It's just 1s and 20s
So-
and 18s.
Without being shot, it's amazing how much easier it is to aim these things when you're not being, when nobody's attempting to shoot you out of the sky. So Bina basically like maneuvers you into the perfect spot, Mason, and almost feeding you telemetry, and like basically even with all that, as Peach does the scan, giving you like exact weak points. Even with all that, the Voidcaller is still a hefty ship. It has, like some pretty significant armor plating as well as energy diffusion systems that are scattered throughout its hull. So you have to be very precise, and as you do, as you begin sighting down your scopes, lining up Awakener's cannons, you wait for that perfect moment. You lock in, you double check your information, and you just let fly. And as you just send out just a barrage of fire at the FTL drive, a few moments later, after a few moments of sustained fire, you're rewarded with just seeing just sort of a blossom of flame, and then watching as a cascade of electrical energy just sort of arcs out from the FTL drive. You immediately just hear, confirmed target destroyed. They're dead in the water.
Bina's gonna turn to. Oop, what was it?
They're not going anywhere.
Bina's gonna turn to Peach and say, "Any parting thoughts for them?" And we'll kind of like hover over like where our communications are like.
Sorry, there's a ton of noise on my
It's
screen.
okay. It's okay. I actually also wanted to do something else too, so I can do that first. But Bina's gonna prompt Peach to see if she wants to try to scare him a little bit. And I want to do something that I haven't done in a very long time,
Sure.
which is scare a lot of people.
All right.
I want them to be afraid of everything that happened here today.
Yeah. Okay. So how are
I want to project.
how are you just
to
just sort of
Voidcaller.
just projecting emotion?
Mm-hmm. Ideally, I would like to. It would be in tandem if Peach has
Sure,
anything
yeah.
to say.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
All right. So I'll keep that in mind, and we'll deal with that after.
Yes.
Can you get them on comms?
Wideband frequency. Video or audio?
Let's do video.
All right. I set it up.
All right. So, Peach, you see as the lines from the holo projector basically span out over the bottom. Basically, essentially, it's like a laser sort of grid that shows you basically where you need to be standing, and as you watch as that activates, you find yourself standing there, and you look up into the receiver. What would you like to do?
Can I see who is there on the other side? Or do they? Is it just one way?
Bina's just broadcasting at this point.
Yeah, I just set up a broadcast.
Oh,
if you wanted to
okay.
talk to them, I could do that. We could
Oh
try
no,
to call
a
them,
broadcast is fine.
But... Okay.
Okay. Okay. Calling the Voidcaller. This is the crew of the Awakener. You have seen what happens when you side with the corporations over the people who are the same as you. I wouldn't do it a second time. And I want to kind of use kind of awakened dreams to kind of make my face go really kind of smoky and distorted. I want to make it look super scary. And just have that kind of be like almost the last image that they see after I wouldn't do it again.
Okay. I'm gonna have you make a roll. This is an
Yeah.
intellect roll. The difficulty would be 6. I'm gonna drop it down.
Okay.
I'm gonna drop it down to a 5.
Okay.
So for use of your imagery, which is kind of hitting close to home to some of them.
I can probably give an encouragement. Social interactions plus and or otherwise.
Yeah.
I can give you an asset because we're in the same
Okay.
room.
Okay. So
It's definitely otherwise.
Mhm.
Definitely otherwise.
My favorite kind of social
So
interaction.
otherwise sometimes, Bina.
yeah, because I have pleasant social interactions, but this is not a pleasant one.
Mm-mm.
I don't have anything in intimidation.
Do you have anything with like convincing people of things?
I mean, I have persuasion. This is a form of persuasion. It's intimidation.
That's true. No, that totally counts. I mean,
It's aggressive persuasion. Kind of scare them.
yeah.
Okay,
So that's down to a 3, I think.
yeah. From
Wait, are
the...
you trained in persuasion or are you specialized?
I'm trained. I'm trained in
Okay, so
persuasion.
yeah, it's down to a 3.
And then I'm gonna use a free level of effort,
Okay. Down to a 2.
and then I'm gonna spend one more level of effort.
Down to a 1.
This intellect is starting to look a little rough here.
All right. You just need a 3 or better.
10.
Okay. So Caitlin, if this feels fair to you, you want to just take what you said you were gonna do and just have that sort of flavor-wise be your assisting here?
Oh, that's fine. Yeah, I think last time I spent a bunch for it, and I'll just do that. I can do that as I'll spend a bunch if you want.
Yeah. I don't think I'm gonna need you to do that this time around.
Okay.
So you
I think they're already pretty scared.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I want. Bina's angry about what happened.
Yeah.
And just about everything, but someone died today, and
Yeah.
that is, she's mad,
Yeah.
and so she's
Yeah.
that was her final like salt in the
So-
wound. Like she wants all
Yeah.
of them afraid.
So at the very last second, Mason and Bina, as you're watching Peach deliver this message, you watch, even to all of you, just at the last second before the video feed cuts out, you watch as sort of like these sort of smoky kind of like just these tendrils of shadowy smoke just sort of start rising around Peach's face, almost sort of like seeping into her hair and rising, almost making it look like like she's in 0G, where her hair sort of starts rising for like a second. It is a split second, like it to the point where like if you blink, you might think that you had imagined it, but it's enough that it stays with you. And as the feed cuts, Peach is once again standing herself, back to normal, standing in front of you. There is no immediate response from the Voidcaller.
Didn't expect one. Just wanted them to have some final thoughts.
No, I don't think they'll do it again.
Yeah, we'll peel off if Scrapyard starts to. Match formation.
Awakener,
Phil.
this is Major Krail. The Voidcaller has powered down weapons, as have both of their light cruisers. Looks like we won the day.
Looks like it.
Doesn't feel like it.
Never does, Awakener. Never does. Krail out.
Yeah, we'll fall into formation with them, and we will fill Hooligan's spot.
Sounds good. Alright. So, You we're going to cut to a little while later as all of you reconvene back at the settlement. Having landed back in the landing zone just outside of the settlement on the plateau. You land, and even as you're landing, you can see Vix, Ada, and Taeon standing in the fields, just watching as you touch down. A few members of Scrapyard Squadron have also landed. Maybe like just about 2 of them have landed back in this clearing. As Awakener finishes touching down and the landing ramp comes down, Taeon, you see actually who is disembarking? Who's going where?
I think I'll probably come out with everyone so we can check in on the town and make sure everything's okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I think we're all probably heading out.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah. So as the landing ramp comes down, Taeon, you see as like the crew exit the ship.
Kind of waves.
Yeah.
Oh. So, how did it go? Our mission went great.
Mason's just kind of looking up. Yeah. You'll have to explain how you did that.
I have no clue either. Yeah, no, I'll try and explain what I did later, but yeah, how did everything go with you?
We were all good. We took out the weapon systems on the Voidcaller. We did suffer a casualty.
Casualty?
Hooligan went down taking out some drop ships. She saved the town from the pirates. Abriel's looking after her.
She's gone. Gone. Shit.
Don't suppose you can rewind that far.
I can, no. Even for me, dead is dead.
I can let the major know if he didn't see it. If he didn't know.
That sounds good.
But your mission went well?
Yeah, we had some help.
Vix, by the way, is very conspicuously not making eye contact with you. His eyes are on the ground.
I just like turn to like look at him.
Oh, help, huh?
Yeah. You mentioned he's kind of like looking at everyone, like he's looking directly at Peach, but he's kind of like addressing this to everyone. Last time I came to your time, you mentioned doppelgangers. Someone who could take the image of some people we know.
Doppelgangers?
Are
What are you getting
Peach?
at?
Are you Peach?
Yes.
Are you actually Peach?
Yeah. And I'm gonna like I'm going to like bring out like a giant peach, like a fruit. Like I'm gonna like awaken dreams and just have this like big, like kind of like comically large peach. She's just kind of like
I hope you don't unoffended if you are Peach, but if you're not, I don't care. But he kind of like points at Vix. We know someone who can quite literally mimic abilities. That doesn't prove anything to me.
Why are you? Why are you asking me this? What's going on?
Vix looks up at this point and he says, "You were there on the ship.
You saw me.
You showed up.
Huh.
And you told us to run.
I didn't think you would be able to see her.
See who?
Her?
Who?
The other me. Didn't think you would be able to see her.
Are you gonna explain?
Well, I mean, back in the headquarters, we kind of tried to get into this a little bit, but I guess I didn't.
Yeah, I will say that during that conversation, Vix was not part of that conversation.
Was he not
Vix was
there?
not part of that conversation because that happened after like a meeting of like the leadership of the resistance that Vix was definitely.
Oh, and
not
he wasn't
invited to.
there.
Not involved. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So after, I'm kind of looking at Vix. He's realizing at this point, like he hasn't heard this. Kind of like looking at him, and because he's not making eye contact with me, it's kind of freaking me out. After Taeyeon saved us and rewound, that other version of myself was still out there, and she didn't have a very good go of it. And so she came looking for me, and she's been here and helping me in. I mean, she's just been like here and walking around and making commentary. I mean, I thought that if she went with you, maybe she would keep you safe. Did she keep you safe? You all are alive, so I assume she kept you safe.
Yeah. Like
So what's
I said, we had help.
What aren't you telling me?
Vix just looks at you, Taeyeon, and then he like addresses this to Taeyeon specifically and just says, "I'm pretty tired. I think I'm gonna take a rest."
Okay.
And he just kind of like walks up past you into Awakener.
How is he feeling? I would like to know.
Vix is feeling right now very he's a mix of a lot of things, but the thing that stands out to you the most is fear.
Mhm. Cool.
I'm gonna kind of turn back to Taeyeon, and did he get injured or?
No, I a few scrapes and bruises, but I helped with most of those anyway. Other you, I don't know. It didn't seem like you.
Well, it's not me. It's a echo, a shadow. It's not me. I'm right here. Okay. So whatever you saw, that wasn't me. Okay.
Yeah.
Now I want to know how everyone's feeling.
Peach is kind of irritated.
Ooh, good. Tasty.
I think. How do I explain what Taeyeon's feeling?
It can be many things. It can be layers.
Yeah. I think one is still the constant like flux of like different emotions from different times.
Yeah,
You're always like
yeah.
feeling the peripheral stuff, but like the main thing it's feeling right now, I think it's suspicion and also fear. Yeah, because I think what he saw wasn't the Peach that he knew, so he's definitely a bit scared. Even if this Peach says this a different one, they still share the same face. So it's kind of so a bit of suspicion and fear.
Concern and somewhat understanding, like Mason's understanding certain things or piecing together things. It's just a cog, just a bunch of the usual.
The Mason vibes, yeah.
Mason's brain always going.
Always, yeah. Well, she feels like Peach, if that helps. Bina kind of like looks in between the two of them.
Thanks. I don't know what the issue is. You all are here, so there's not anything else. I have to go tell the major that one of his soldiers has died, so.
Yeah, he should know that.
Okay. Glad you got out of there, okay. And I kind of want to like just steal a glance at like the other Peach and see like just to kind of just like give her a like look like, oh god, what'd you do in there?
She's
like,
not there.
Oh, okay.
You go to look for her, and usually when you go to look for her, it's almost like she's waiting for you to reach out to her, but this time she's not there.
Kind of like notice like Peach like kind of falters a step and then just keeps going. I'll catch up with you guys.
All right, so Peach, you walk away towards where the two members of Scrapyard Squadron have landed. One of them is in fact the major, and as you make your way that way, you pass kind of in the opposite going in the opposite direction, Alelora, who looks at you and smiles and says, "Ooh, you've hard day."
Yeah. It's been kind of a hard, I don't know, week, months. Yeah.
Well, we're still here. We're still fighting.
Fight damn well.
I do what I can, given that she indicates over her shoulder where you can see the shuttle that she and the other engineers had come down in, that is just like pocked with holes and not exactly designed for that kind of thing, but do all right.
Well, it's still intact. That's all that matters.
I think so too. She indicates over her shoulder again. She says, "Major's back that way."
Okay. Glad you made it through the battle okay.
Same to you. She keeps walking past to awaken her. Bina, you can see her coming. As she walks up, she goes, looks at the rest of the crew, says, "Can I borrow a girl here for a second?"
Yeah.
And she says,
"Go right ahead.
"Why don't you walk with me?"
Go.
And the two of you sort of walk a little ways away, kind of the opposite direction from the settlement, kind of walking across the big kind of cleared area. And she looks at you and says, "You know, it really, really is good to see you."
I don't know if I'd ever see you again.
I had a feeling.
You always do.
Speaking of which, I didn't want to say anything in front of everybody else, but you've been through a lot, I can tell. Definitely not the same person I left behind. But
In a lot of ways. Yeah.
there's something else. Something deeper. I can feel that. You don't have to tell me anything about it. I just wanted to let you know that I know. I could tell. And really, it's all of them, actually. All of you. You're all kind of feeling the same way to me. All a little bit different, but in the same place.
Yeah.
Must have been some wound you all suffered.
We're working on it. Want to see something cool?
Always.
And Bina's gonna put two of her hands out like this and encourage
Yeah.
Alel to put her hands down.
She-
Goes,
yeah, she
so
reaches
she'll
out.
she
Mhm.
and she glows like a Orzai glow, and then it gets brighter, and then she slaps it onto Alel's hands, and the glow sticks. And then she's gonna put all four of their hands together, and there'll be like a little, just like a ball of glow, and then she'll launch it up into the sky, and we're gonna do a sunburst.
The sun itself, which had largely been covered once again by clouds, at this moment is currently being outshone by this enormous sphere of light, illuminating the prairie, almost, or the plateau, almost like a ray of sun that was created just for the sole purpose of lighting this one spot on this planet.
It's warm. It's a warm light.
She looks up at it. Says, there she is.
Still in there somewhere.
Never left.
No. Can't get rid of me that easy.
That's how I've always seen you. So, seems like things are over for now. I think it's time I see the inside of your ship.
Oh, I've been waiting for you to ask. And she's gonna give her like a full big hug, and then they'll link arms on and walk back to Awakener.
Yeah. You make your way back. Taeon, we'll say for the sake of this that, well, actually, go ahead. Where does Taeon go? As basically like everybody has basically reconvened at this point, and now like Peach has split off, Bina's split off. What are you doing?
Mason hasn't split off, so I think I'm probably
Mason
talking
just-
to Mason.
Yeah, Mason just kind of lights up a cigarette. Oh, sorry. I'll code down
You're
when
good.
here.
I think like he turned kind of like he doesn't shuffle uncomfortably, but like he's told us like a bit of like a uncomfortableness to his like how he holds himself, like he's kind of like wringing his hands, and then turns to Mason. This is our Peach, right?
I mean, yes. As far as I know.
I think so too. Just that Peach, I couldn't see what she was doing, but it didn't sound like a thing our Peach would do. And she saved us, and I am grateful for that. I don't know how we would have survived. We ended up running into the galley just full of pirates. Wouldn't have been anything we could have done to stop that if it hadn't been for her. I'm just worried. That Peach exists because of me. What would happen if something happens to push our Peach down that road.
Yeah. Look, I don't think that's going to happen. I'm worried that she didn't mention this other Peach, but we've all had our reasons for not saying things. I know that as well as anyone. I would like to know what they talk about. Because this is another Peach from somewhere else who went through a very different, probably very dark place and did what she had to do to survive. That's what you saw back there.
That's what I saw back there. I was worried it was was you were working with a doppelganger. Now knowing that it's a Peach from another timeline, I'll be honest, I'm kind of worried about what she's talking about with our Peach too.
Yeah. Me too. Maybe I'll try to talk to her.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I'm not great at talking. I don't think, especially about something like this.
Well, neither am I. That's why I have this. And Mason just pulls out the flask.
Yeah, no, like I said, I can't drink in time.
Yeah, it's mostly a joke now because it kind of just goes through me. I just adapt. And
Oh God, I had never thought about that.
it's interesting.
Can you like turn it off?
I haven't tried yet. It's more of a habit now, you know. Sometimes you don't even really need the coffee. It's just kind of like the habit of it,
Yeah.
or the smell.
You know, I get that. But at least I think you should probably try turning it off, at least just for the enjoyment of getting a little bit drunk.
Well, today is probably the day for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm concerned, but I think right now we're okay.
I hope so.
The whole time thing is just, I'm still getting used to it.
I'll be honest, I am too. I literally did a thing I didn't know I could do. I'm pretty sure I bent space-time. That's what it felt like anyway. Usually like I slow down the time around me or speed up mine. But that time I just bent everything else. Like, one moment we're on the outer hull of the ship, the next we're down here.
You'd never done that before?
No. It felt very different, and it definitely was very different. Usually you saw when I shunted that shuttle, I sped myself up and just jumped, but this was more than just, I just took a step and I was here. with Vix and Ada.
Well, I'm glad it worked.
God, me too, because I really did not know how we were going to get out of there. Bina was very worried, and I admit Ada and I just asked her to calm down because we had no idea either, and she was making us panic a little bit as well.
A lot of our plans are just half hoping it works.
Yeah.
It seems to have worked so far, so who's to complain?
Yeah. Oh, interesting thing. They have mechs. So is that something we want to take before like they leave? I don't know how we're gonna do that, but like if we want to, Vix was really, really keen on getting a mech.
Yeah, we can probably do that. I mean, I've always wanted to get in one ever since I was a kid.
I'm gonna say at this point, as you're talking about this, you hear like the sound of like some of the maintenance crews that are still nearby. Like you suddenly hear like the kind of vague murmuring that you've been hearing as they've been conversing and working on the two starfighters that have landed. Their tone very suddenly changes, and you can hear the sound of like disquiet. As you look over to them, you can see that many of them are looking up. And as you turn and you look at the Voidcaller, you can see where there's Taeon. Mason, this is new for you, but Taeon, you've seen this already once today, where you see basically like sort of shadows detach themselves from the Voidcaller and wrap themselves around it. And then it's just like the shadow dissipates into a cloud, leaving nothing behind but the two light cruisers.
That was Peach.
I like do a scan real quick to see if that was like if that was an anomaly, an unreal thing, or if that ship is really gone. Like if I can do like something.
I don't. Oh, tell you what. Like as you pull out your little like
sure
magnifying thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you just sort of like
Heck
start
yeah.
scanning the sky with it.
All of our tech is connected to Awakener too,
Yeah.
so you could probably just like shunt it through like
Yeah.
It just vanished. Like
you look up and
I love this.
you sort of scan the area where it was. There's nothing. There's no trace of anything.
Ship is gone.
Yeah.
That's not. I'm gonna like start moving away from the ship to. I think we need to go and find Peach.
Yeah. I think like Taeyeon's like probably backing up, like following Mason, but still like looking up at the sky.
Yeah. You basically see what you're seeing right now is both of the light cruisers, both of them start angling towards the atmosphere, and they just start flying off. And you watch as one by one they disappear above the clouds, and a short while later you hear those sort of sonic booms as they just exit the planet's atmosphere. So, we're going to cut over to Peach as you are approaching the Major, who has touched down outside the settlement in the landing area. And as he glances up, talking with the other pilot, he glances up, sees you coming, and just and
I'm gonna
and then turns back to his conversation. He goes, "All right, just make sure that all the recovery efforts are going well. I don't want to leave anybody out there. Understood? Yes, sir. All right, get out of here, dive bomb." He turns back around and sees you as the other pilot climbs back into their starfighter. He looks at you, says, "Hell of a day."
Isn't that right, Major? Does he look injured at all, or does he look fine?
He looks tired more than anything. Like, he looks just absolutely exhausted. You can see kind of like the light bags under his eyes, and you can see sort of like the grime from like the sweat that must have accumulated underneath his pilot's helmet. That a lot of it has sort of streaked away as he's sort of been sweating. You can see places where he's like it's smudged, where he's kind of wiped away. But yeah, otherwise he looks mostly okay. He just says, so. I saw you go after, yeah.
After Hooligan ship.
I take it she didn't make it. Yeah.
We have her body back on our ship. Does she have next of kin that we can notify?
Nobody that she'd want notified. But, yeah. We'll do what we've done with the others. Actually, if you're I'd like to invite you back to the derelict. I know she'd want you there.
Of course. I think our whole crew will want to be there. She was a hero.
Yes, she was.
I'm sorry that she had to be one.
Me too.
Are there any other people still missing?
We had a few pilots who had to make emergency landings, but a couple rougher than others, but seems like everybody's managed to check in, so everyone's okay.
And I'm gonna kind of reach into like a sleeve or into like a pocket and pull out like a handkerchief and kind of hand it to him, like
yeah,
kind of hold it up like gesturing like kind of to his greasy face.
Thanks. Takes it and looks at it. Says,
"You want to clean up?"
Yeah, he just sort of like just wipes it just sort of across his forehead and just sort of.
Now I don't want you to get the wrong idea, but you can keep that.
Understood.
So, all the exhaustion and losses aside, how did that feel to take such direct resistance?
You trying to recruit us? Is that it?
I was just asking a question. You're the one that said recruiting.
Damn politician. Says, yeah, I felt good. I mean, it's what we've been spending all of our time doing out here, but never anything like that. It's the kind of thing.
I will say you. Oh, I was just gonna say, there was some fancy flying out there.
Yeah. Scrapyard, we've had to get very good at what we do. Can't afford to lose anybody. Not out here. We're on our own out here.
Well, what if you weren't on your own?
So you are trying to recruit us?
I'm just saying you all have a shortage and you have a mission, and it's one that we share. You don't have to give me an answer now.
What exactly is it that you all do? You never did tell me. You just said you were out here to help.
Okay. That's a little bit of a long conversation, but we kind of do this, but everywhere and with a hell of a lot more people and in a hell of a lot more places. So sticking it to the corporations.
Oh, good.
Freeing enslaved colonies, stopping them from blowing up anybody that gets in their way. All sounds like stuff that you guys do anyway.
Oh, great. I'll give you that. Yeah.
Hey, they're even starting to brew some whiskey on base. So I saw your guys' stories. You're running a little low.
I'll tell you right now, that is the last thing my pilots need. But yeah, I mean, it does sound like we're aligned here. But
again, you don't have to give me an answer today.
And I won't. But the thing is, our priority is. He kind of gestures over towards the settlement. He says, people like them, this kind of thing, it's not an isolated incident. This is life in the border worlds. This is what it is. Some places are better than others, but it's all like this. After the war for independence, the Ascendancy basically, they promised these people everything and they left them high and dry. Once their interests no longer aligned with. There's nobody. These people have nobody. For every one of these places like that we come to, that we help like we did here, there's a dozen more that are steamrolled by pirates. Or worse.
That's why there are people like you and Scrapyard and us to rise up and defend them.
And I hear that. All I'm saying is, if we're out pledging ourselves to a war against corporate greed, nobody's down here looking after them.
Well, I didn't say you would have to leave the border worlds.
Didn't you?
Like, we're a growing organization, you might say. And we can't be everywhere at once. And you all know this area better than we do. So you could be our eyes out here. Keep doing what you're doing. And be ready to give us a call. Be ready to take our call. And if you have some pilots that are eager to do a little bit more firefighting, then we can show them the way.
I'll consider it. For now, though, got some pilots to recover, and what the? You see as he looks up, and as you follow his gaze, you see the same thing. Those shadowy tendrils just sort of moving out from around the Voidcaller, swallowing it up, and then dissipating into a cloud of smoke. And as you see that, you watch as the two craft that were sort of hovering near it just take off into the atmosphere.
Was that some kind of technology?
Nothing I've seen.
Does it could I tell, could I kind of feel that disturbance at all? It's a similar kind of dream, almost like an alternate kind of space that I reach out to when I pull things into the world. Could I feel that? Does it feel really freaky?
I'm not gonna make you roll. Yeah, you feel echoes of sort of disturbed dream space in the place where the ship once was.
It almost kind of feels like there's hundreds of nightmares that all kind of pop and then disappear all at once. That's kind of how I'm visualizing it.
He looks at you and says, I've seen you all do some pretty extraordinary things while you've been here. I think that's probably enough for one day. I'll see you later.
Call our ship when you want us to come over.
Will do. And thanks again.
Good job. Oh, of course. Good flying, Major.
He climbs back into his fighter.
I'm gonna give him kind of like a mock salute, and then kind of walk off. And like when she was with him, she was kind of trying to like not show, like she's kind of trying to keep a blank face, but now kind of like she's watching where the space was and still kind of feeling disturbances, and like just is kind of like pale as a sheet.
Yeah. Okay. So we are going to cut to a little while later. Basically what has happened is after speaking with the colony, the mayor has basically what has happened here at this point, for the sake of trying to kind of move us along, we won't make this into any kind of actual scene necessarily, but basically Scrapyard Squadron recovers the rest of their downed pilots. Their maintenance crews currently are awaiting the arrival of the derelict so that they can move some of the downed fighters back into repair stations. Scrapyard has made an arrangement with the settlers to basically get a certain amount of the remaining tetrium on the planet. Scouts from Scrapyard have confirmed that all corporate presence within the system or near the system has vanished. As for the settlers, they have essentially, after a few conversations with Peach, have essentially tentatively allied with the resistance. For whatever that's worth, not a lot of fighters amongst them, not much in the way of resources, but
Friendly faces.
it appears that at this point, the very first embers of the resistance have been sparked. So we will cut to a little bit later, on board Awakener, which has once again docked on the derelict. As Bina, you kind of at this point we're going to say you're in your quarters, just sort of cleaning up like grime and smudge from the day, and you hear the door chime on your door.
Come in.
And you see as the door opens, Jade steps in. He says, "Hey, you almost ready to go?"
Yeah, 1 second, and she'll grab just like her coat and put it on or whatever, and she'll follow up.
As you approach him, he's standing in the doorway, and he looks he kind of looks down at you as he is significantly taller. He just says, "Hey, sorry, reflex.
Are you?
I'm trying to be."
We'll do it together, and she'll give him a little hug around the middle.
Yeah.
And
all right.
I'll head out.
Yeah, you step out. Elsewhere on the ship, Mason, you are kind of seated in the hold with Patch, just sort of waiting for everybody to arrive. And Patch has been completely silent basically while they've been sitting near you, just sort of falling into a familiar and comfortable silence. But as you're waiting, you start kind of hearing the sounds of other people stirring around the ship, getting ready to disembark. And they turn to you and they say, "I am not sure that I understand."
Understand what?
What precisely was the point of this? This settlement had no strategic value. They do not have any significant resources to provide to the resistance. Understand, I'm not asking because I believe there was no value. I'm asking what you think the point of all of this was.
Well, firstly, Patch, we've been talking a while. I know you. I know how I'm gathering and I'm understanding and what you mean. So I know what you mean, and I know that's not your intent. And there's nothing to get. I mean, I would have tried to come up with a million reasons, but it's just the right thing to do. Because if we don't stand up, when the big bullies come in, who's going to do it?
I see. And they don't offer any more commentary than that.
Yeah, and Mason understands that and just kind of gives a firm nod.
We'll go ahead and as basically the crew gathers in the hold together, all of you disembark from Awakener. Abriel sort of pushing a what is essentially at this point a makeshift pallet, keeping the body of Hooligan on it. As you all make your way out, you can see the hangar bay has largely been cleared of maintenance personnel. At least they're all there. The entire crew of the derelict, as well as Scrapyard Squadron. You can see the captain, Hotshot. She's basically like only wearing about half of her uniform. The rest like is just bandages that have been kind of like wrapped completely around her torso. And a few others are sporting, bandages and signs of injury, but nothing looks particularly serious. But they all are standing in rows. And as you approach, you can see the major is standing in front of them. Bina, as your group comes closer, you look and you can see Alel, who just sort of in kind of the front row of the maintenance crew, looks at you, smiles, and nods. As Abriel brings the body of Hooligan up to the front, you can see where they're like a team of Scrapyard Squadron basically lift her into a. They work together to kind of lift her into a what looks like just sort of like a pod. Similar to what you would find like sort of like evacuation type, like single person evacuation pods. They lift her into one, and it is not lost on anyone how very casket-like it appears. And as you all kind of step into the line, see the major steps over to her, and as he looks up at all of you, he Today we won. Today we beat back the pirates. We showed them, like we have before, that there are people out here who care. That there are people who are willing to fight for those who don't have anything. We've fought them before, we'll fight them again, and we've lost so much on this whole fight ever since we came out here. Seven years ago, when we left the GHC to embark on this mission, I asked all of you a question. If not us, who? Every single last one of you followed me without question. Not Hooligan. Hooligan was always one to question. She questioned everything. Didn't matter whether she thought it was right or wrong, she always needed to know, to understand. And while she didn't come with the rest of us, none of that matters. What matters is that she was here. And if she hadn't been here today, we might be having a very different kind of gathering. If not us, who? And you hear it like sort of the murmur echoing around. If not us, who? Diani, Hooligan, Lorafina. We honor you. Until next we meet. He closes the pod. And the other members of Scrapyard who had lifted her in push the pod to one of the ejection tubes. And as you all stand and watch, as one, all of Scrapyard Squadron and the maintenance crews snap to a salute. And with that, you watch as the pod is pulled into the ejection tube and just...
I want her to glow.
At the last second, Bina, you reach out, just sort of brushing your fingers along the tube as it goes. And you watch as just it begins just blazing. A slow glow at first that rises up and grows until, as a bright, shining beacon, Hooligan is sent out among the stars.
She's a star herself.
Danger silently salutes.
The Major turns back around and says, he turns to you, Peach, and he nods. He says, whenever you fight, you can count on us.
If not us, who? Thank you, General. Major.
Without another word, he walks through the crowd of people gathered As the crowd sort of disperses a little bit, moving off kind of into their own little like groups, conversing quietly. Alel walks over to your group and she says, "I'm really glad you all came. I'm glad you were here."
Me too.
Don't be strangers.
Right back at you.
Now you know where to find me.
We're just a call away.
Bea gives her a little salute.
And she
Oh.
Two arms.
she smirks and then just comes forward and doesn't return it, just hugs you.
Yeah.
Mason, as you're
Is Vix there?
yeah, Vix is standing nearby. Yeah.
I'm gonna kind of just like reach for his hand.
He starts for a moment and then looks down, looks at you, and then takes your hand. I'm okay.
You don't have to be.
Right now, I think I do.
Just gonna squeeze his hand.
Mason, as you're standing kind of watching some of the interactions, you glance over and you can see Alma is standing right next to you, as she looks, you can see that she's watching Bina and Alel, and she turns and looks at you. She says, "Sorry, just thinking about."
It's okay.
No, it's just everything's so different than before.
Tell me about it. Yeah, you'll get used to it.
I hope not.
Yeah, well, you have to excuse me. I'm used to just compartmentalizing.
I understand. She kind of turns away as the rest of the group sort of convenes. And Vix looks around and says, "Well, mission accomplished. Where to next?"
I think we should probably touch base with Wire and home base.
Yeah.
Jade looks up and says, "I'll go chart a course."
I think everybody needs a good night's sleep. And maybe some of Mason's whiskey.
I'm gonna see how I can help with some of the injuries. See if I can halve some of the recovery times.
Gabriel nods, says, "I think I'll do the same."
Good idea.
I want to make sure all of their ships are up and running before we leave them. It's the least I can do.
All right. So, as the crew of Awakener makes themselves useful in their various ways on the derelict, the carrier ship of Scrapyard Squadron. That is where we will end tonight's episode.
Oh boy.
Oof.
There's a lot there.
Oh, we don't have time to unpack all of that.
Oh my gosh.
As is kind of in our usual
Yeah.
fashion.
Yeah.
No, we don't have enough time to unpack all that.
Laws of Gods and Men, thank you so much for the raid. You came in on quite the moment.
Yeah, thank you.
Ooh.
Yes. All right. Well, everyone, thanks so much for hanging out with us tonight, for coming and being here. And of course, as always, thank you, Caitlin, for the incredible work that you do on putting together all of our brand new overlay and all of our splash graphics and of course the title sequence, which I will play before we go out.
Yes.
I'll do it again before we go out completely. But before we get to that, I just want to take a second to remind everybody that we won't go through all of our usual end of stream announcements. All I will say is, if you're not in the Discord, you should be. You should consider coming, because that's where you're going to learn all of the important details about basically everything about us. So if you're brand new here, Discord is a great place to go and ask questions about what all this is. There's plenty of information there, plenty of people willing to give it. And it's also the best place to get up-to-date info on everything that we are doing here, such as I announced at the beginning of the stream, the second half of March, we're going to be running a charity campaign for the Human Rights Campaign, and we are going to be running that as part of our regular programming, just sort of alongside it, maybe some slight changes. We'll let you know as that comes up, and of course, capping it all off on March 31st with our Mall Kids game that is set in the Infinite Horizon universe. Space Kids in Space Malls.
It's gonna be so fun.
It'll be delightful and chaotic, and we'll definitely make sure that you know all the details that you need to know before we get there. But that's basically all I will say. Make sure that you tune in on Friday for Ramblemancy at 7 p.m. Pacific time, where we will be sitting down to talk about our kind of media that we're just into right now. Really, it's just an excuse to talk about stuff we like, and for you to tell us about stuff you like. So
Always a blast.
Yeah. So come by. Make sure that you come and hang out with us and talk to us about everything that you're into. So yeah, I think probably going to call it there. Drac and Caitlin, you guys have anything going on that you want to tell anybody about?
As usual, catch me at Sundays at 5 p.m. Pacific over on Q Times for Power Play, where I play a very different superpowered individual. That's all I got.
Just follow me on Twitter at Draconics. That's DRAKONIQES. The next thing I'm playing this week is Parliament of Owls, the Pathfinder 2nd Edition campaign, where it's all villains. So Owls Heroic here today, I'm gonna be fucking awful on Friday. So if you want to see that, please do come. Apparently we're going to my character name is Imra. Apparently going to Imra's place to meet his hot vampire mom, because apparently that's what everyone wanted. So that's gonna be great. He's gonna be very embarrassed. So yeah, if you want to see an embarrassed evil character having to keep his teammates away from or trying to flirt with his mom, you can come and watch that.
Excellent.
That sounds awesome.
That sounds great.
Terrible.
It's gonna be absolutely awful in the best way possible.
Excellent. All right. Well, we're gonna go. So hopefully we will see you on Friday for Ramblemancy. But if not, we'll see you the next time you decide to come roll with us. Good night and good zone.
Good zone.